This conference will now be recorded. This conference will now be recorded.
चतुर्मुखसमारम्भां वाग्भटाचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् रागादिरोगान् सततानुषक्तान् अशेषकायप्रसृतान् शेषान् औत्सुक्यमोहारदिदान् जघान यो पूर्ववैद्याय नमोऽस्तु तस्मै. So today we will continue with our Rasabhediyam shlokam what we stopped in our last session. That means the Madhura Rasa Karma that we completed. Ajanma Satmyad Kurute Dhadunam Prabalam Balam Bala Vruddha Kshatakshina Varna Kesha Indriya Ujasam Prashasto Brahmana Kandhya Stanya Sandhana Krit Guru Ayushyo Jivana Snigdha Pittanila Vishapaha. That is what we concluded. Now we continue with the Atyupayoga Lakshanas or Karma. Better, I think Karma is the better word. The Karma that the Madhura Rasa will do when used in excess. The text goes like this. Kurudetyupayogena sa medashleshmajan gadan Sthaulya Sanyasa Mehaganda Arbudadigan. Kurudetyupayogena sa Medashleshmajan Gadan Sthaulya Sanyasa Meha Gandarbudadigan. So Madhura Rasa is having many qualities with which it does many karmas in the body, which are very important, which are very attractive, which are very relevant in ahara as well as aushadha upayoga. In ahara aushadhopayogi dravya group, this Madhura Rasa Dravya is having a very predominant role. That Brahmanaha, Kandhyaha, many things. Varnakeshendriya Ujasam Prashastaha, Stanyakrit, Sandhanakrit, etc. etc. But at the same time, it's Atyupayoga. Atyupayoga. That means Adimatropayogaha. We should remember that always the most important points that we have to remember in our minds as far as the Dravyopayoga is concerned, either in Ahara Rupa or Aushadha Rupa. Kale, that is very important. It should be used in proper kala. Then midam, that is the next word. Midam. Midam means in the proper matra. In the proper matra. So akalopayogam and amitopayogam, improper matra, both are dangerous. They can be harmful. So here we find Atyupayoga of Madhura Rasa. Madhura is Prithvi Jala Bhuishtha Rasa. Out of the 5 Bhudas, Prithvi Jala Bhuishtha Rasa. So when used in excess, that will increase the Prithvi Jala components in the Sharira, obviously. Everybody knows that. And Prithvi Jala is the principal uh, or the principal components of major components of Shleshma as well. Shleshma. So we should connect this relation with many other ideas, many other areas where we can intervene, maybe during a treatment program or in Pathyapathya Nischaya, many wherever it is, or its applications. Actually, that is innumerable. So it increases the Prithvi Jala Amsha. So there is a potential for a Panjabhaudika Chikitsa even. Madhura Rasa increases Prithvi Jala. So even that forms a seed for Panjabhaudika Chikitsa even. So its Atyupayoga increases the Prithvi Jala Bhava in the Sharira, Shleshma Bhava in the Sharira, and many other dhadus which are considered as the Shleshma Ashraya, they all increase. So we find Kurude Atyubayogena Saha Madhuraha Rasaha Atyubayogena Ati Upayogena Kurude. Then a list. Medashleshmajan Gadan. Medashleshmajan. Shleshmajan, something which is born out of Shleshma. That is Shleshmajam. Meda is a dhadu. Medo dhadu. But actually we have an idea that tatra asthinistido vayuhu pittam tu svedaraktayoho shleshma shesheshu. So there are many other options actually. Shleshma shesheshu means it can be mamsa, it can be medas, it can be majja, it can be shukra, or it can be some other mala. All these things can be there, but still it is specified that medas shleshmajan gadan. Shleshmajan gadan is quite understandable, but why a special emphasis is given for medas? That is an important or interesting point, because see, Attibayogam, actually you see, we do not find that sort of a specificity of Medas in the normal usage of Madhura Rasa. We just saw that Ajanma Satyan Kurude Dhadunam Prabalam Balam. All the dhadus are included in it. It is not specific to Medas. But Atyuvayoga causes Medo Vritti, Medojan Gadan, Medashleshmajan Gadan. So that gives some sort of a idea about the nature of Medo Dhatu. Atyupayoga of Madhura Rasa causes Shleshma Vriddhi, and the Vriddha Shleshma very easily gets attached to Medodhadu somewhat much faster than other dhadus. Medas is the Shleshma Samana Swarupa, Sneha Swarupa. All other dhadus are having some or the other way, some Shleshma Swarupa, but the nearest or the closest relation for Shleshma is with Medas. So that is highlighted. So that is highlighted means all others are there. They are not avoided, they are not excluded, they are all included, but still there is a special tendency for Medas. That is all. So Medas Shleshmajan Gadan. How can Medas, a Dushya, or a dhadu can cause a gada. Gada means vikaram, vyadhi. So how medas can cause vikaram? That is a question. Because uh, they do not have the capacity to cause a disease, a vyadhi, any dhadu themselves. It is the dosha which is causing the vyadhi. Dosha dushta rasaihi dhadun dushayanti ubhaye malan adhodve saptashirasi dhani svedavahani cha mala malayanani sihu yadhasvam teshwado gadaha. That is the protocol. That is the way in which a disease, a vyadhi, is uh, generated. So this is this needs an explanation. How can you say a vyadhi as medojan? It can be okay. Shleshmajan is quite understandable. So that also shows the involvement of medas in that particular group of vyadhis which are going to be listed here. That's all. रसादिस्थेषु दोषेषु व्याधयः सम्भवन्ति ये तज्जान् इत्युपचारेण तानाहुः कृतदाहवद्. It is something like a कृतदाहवद्, as if we say that a particular person got burnt, or that daham happened because of kritam. How is it possible? Kritam has got no capacity to cause a burn or scald, whatever it is. But here we say that okay, that scald is caused by kritam. How is it possible? Actually, it is not because of the kritam, but because of the ushnata, tapam, which was there inside or within the kritam. So it is the tapam which is caused the daha. It is not the kritam. Similarly, it is not the medas which is causing the vyadhi, but the shleshma which is there within the medas. But still, it is used as a medojan gadan to show that the sthana samshaya, as far as the sthana samshaya of the vikara is concerned, medas gives or shows some sort of a soft target. It becomes a soft target to focus the shleshma dushti which is caused by aktipayoga of madhura. Shleshma can increase in many other ways as well sometimes, isn't it? There are many other options which we will see later as far as the rasas are concerned. So all the time these rasas, sorry, the dushti or the koba of the shleshma in all situations need not necessarily focus on the medas. It can focus some others as well. That is an interesting point. It need not be focusing on the medas all the time. But if the shleshma dushti is because of madhura rasa, if the shleshma dushti is because of madhura rasa, then obviously there is a preponderance as far as the medas is concerned for receiving that shleshma dushti and thereby causing a vikara. So samedas shleshmajan gadan, and some examples are given. Certain examples are given. Sthaulya, agnisada, sannyasa, meha, ganda, arbudadigan. Sthaulya, agnisada, sannyasa, meha, ganda, arbuda adigan, etc., etc. Adigan. It is, the list is not concluded. A list is given, and like this, as given as an example, many other diseases are possible in this same line, and we find a list. This list is elaborated further. This list is elaborated further in Ashtanga Sangraha. That is interesting. In Ashtanga Sangraha, the list goes. It is interesting to read with a proper attention. What is it? Tatra madhuro rasaha, that we have already seen. That means it's normal karma. Then atyupayoga. Evam gunobi sa sadatyubayujyamanaha sthaulya agnisada guruda alasagadi nidra श्वास प्रमेह गलरोग विसप्ञद आस्य माधुर्य लोचन गलार्बुद गंडमालाः छर्द्युदर्द मूर्धरु कासपीनस कृमीन् श्लीपदज्वरोदर स्थीवनानि चावहेद. This is what we find in a very poetic way. Ashtanga Sangraha writes, using two different meters, chandas, for easy recollection of those bhagas, of that slokas. We will just find the sloka once again. Evam gunobi sa sadatyubayujyamanaha. Sada atyubayujyamanaha. Sada atyubayujyamanaha. So it is not just by one sitting of atyubayoga, but atyubayoga shilata, indulging or getting into frequent overuse. Adimatrobayogam. Sa sadatyubayujyamanaha. What are the outcome? Sthaulya, agnisada, guruda, alasaka, adinidra, which are all seen in the hridaya as well. Then swasa, prameha, galaroga, which is a general term. Galaroga, visapnyada. Visapnyada is given as a loose term. Here we find sannyasam. The word we find sannyasam, but there it is given as visapnyada. It's a non-specific term. Asya madhuryam. Asya madhurya. Feeling madhuryam in the mouth. Asya madhurya. Lochana galarbudam. So that galarbudam and Lojana arbudam. Different types of arbuda vyadhis related to netra. We find certain arbuda vikaras in the vartma, or that sort of vyadhisthanas in netra. So such sort of things. So the other situation, it was a generalized word. Sthaulya, agnisada, sannyasa, meha, ganda, arbudadigan. That arbuda was having no specificity in Ashtanga Hridaya, but here it is given as galarbudam or lojana arbudam. Arbudam related to galam or lojanam. So why Ashtanga Hridaya modified it to see that Visapnyada specifically made into sannyasa, then galarbuda and lojanarbuda changed to a generalized term called arbuda. So these are all important because see, it is fine tuning of the observations. Previously, maybe at the time of writing Ashtanga Sangraha, Vagbhada thought that okay, it can cause arbuda, sorry, only lojana arbuda and gala arbuda. But later, I think maybe after repeated observations and everything, Ashtanga Hridaya, at the time of Ashtanga Hridaya, he modifies his opinion as okay, this Atyupayoga, Sada Atyupayoga of Madhura Rasa can cause arbuda of any type. Need not be limited to the Galarbudam and the Netrarbudam, but arbuda of any type. So that sort of evolution or modification or some sort of a pratisamskaranam of the ideas can also be seen. Then it is not completed. Then Chardyudarda Murdharu Kasa Pinasa Krimin. Important observation. Chardi, Udardam, Murdharuk, Kasam, Pinasam, Krimi. Chardi, Udarda, Murdharu, Kasa, Pinasa, Krimi. Chardi, everyone knows. Udardam. Udardam, I think, I do not know how many of us have taken this term into a serious consideration. This word Udardam. Generally, Udardam is considered as some sort of a some Kodham type of vikara which is happening on the Twag, like that Shidamaruda Samsparsham type of thing caused by that sort of Nidana, which is with the most commonly accepted meaning of Udarda. But at one point, I think we should modify. I think we should look into other options as well. I think because this Udardam can also be considered as a condition of uh, Kabholkledam in Uras. Kabholkledam in Uras specifically. That is also should be understood as Udardam. In one clinical situation like Jwara Chikitsa, we find Sodarda Pinasa Shwase, Jangha Parvasthi Shulini, where Svedam is advised. That Udardam actually is he's talking about the Kabha Ulklesham that is happening in the Uras. It is not about the Twagvigara. It is not about the Twagvigara. Here also, I have a personal opinion. It is purely my opinion. I do not have any other support pramana, but I think it will be more sensible to think that Chardi Udarda Murdharuk Kasa Pinasa Krimin, that Udardam also indicates the Sadatyuba Yoga of Madhura Rasa causes Ulklesha of Kabha in the Uras. Then Murdharuk means Shirashulam. Shirashulam is of many types, isn't it? There are many types of there. That's a section of Shiroroga Prakarana in Uttarasthana we find, and we find many things. Vadiga Shirashulam, Paitiga Shirashulam, Kabhajam, then Shankhagam, Ardhavabhedagam, Suryavartam, Krimija Shirashula. Many types of Shirashulam. Here we find Shirashulam or Murdharuk, but here it should be understood as the one which is caused by Shleshma, need not be other, or maybe in the worst sense Krimija as well. Krimija as well may be included here. So it is a non-specific term. Shiroruk or Murdharuk, Kasam, Penasam, Krimi, Shlipadam. Then Jwaram is given. Udaram is a roga. Many a times these are diseases, and many a times it is they are lakshanas as well. Need not be roga, swadandra roga in all situations, but it can be lakshanas as well without a full spectrum or a full blown vikara. Then Udara Shtivanam, Pradada Shtivanam, spitting, tendency to spit very frequently. So I think with the lines what we find in Ashtanga Hridaya, these lines from Ashtanga Sangraha should also be uh, kept in our minds together for a better understanding. Then coming to the Amla Rasa Karma. What is Amla Rasa Karma? Amlogni Snigdho Hridya Pajanarojanaha Ushnaviryo Himasparshaha Preenana Kledano Lekhu. There is a Padhabedam for that Kledanam. There is a Padhabedam like Bhedanam. But I think the most commonly or most frequently accepted one is Preenana Kledano Lekhu. Amlogni Diptikrit Snigdho Hridya Pajanarojanaha Ushnaviryo Himasparshaha Preenana Kledano Laghu Karodi Kabhapittasram Mudhavadaanulomanaha. Karodi Kabhapittasram Mudhavadaanulomanaha. We will see the words once again. Amlaha Agnidiptikrit. Amlaha Agnidiptikrit. Snigdhaha Hridyaha Pajanarojanaha Ushnaviryaha Himasparshaha Preenanaha, Kledanaha, Laghuhu, Karodi, Kabha Pitta Asram, Mudhavada Anulomanaha, Mudhavada Anulomanaha. Up to that is the Amla Rasa Karma. Amla Rasa Karma. So, Agni Deeptikrit. Amlaha Agni Deeptikrit. Agni Deepana Karam. Deepanam. That is enough. Deepanam. Amla is Deepanam. Amla is Deepanam. Then Samana Gunata. If it is Agni Deepanam, there should be a Samana Gunata. Agni is Agneyam. Agni is Pitta Bhavam. Agni is Ushnam. So if Amla is supposed to work as Agni Deepanam, it will have Agneya properties in it. Kshmambho, Agni Kshma. Agni and Kshma. These are the ingredients. So that Agni Bhaga, Agni part works to make it an Deepana Dravya. Agni Deepanaha. Snigdhaha. Snigdhaha. It is Snigdha. It has got the Snigdha Bhava of Prithvi. So it is Snigdhaha. Hridyaha. Hridyaha. Hridyam actually Hridayopakarakam is Hridyam. Hridayapriyam is Hridyam. Hridayaya Hitam is Hridyam. Okay, fine. All these meanings are there. And I think in our primary experience as a layman, I think we may think that okay, Amlam is Hridyam. Of course, Samyagupayoge. In its proper or Samyag or Matraya Upayoge, it is Hridyam, Hridayapriyam. There the Hridayam does not mean the Hridaya Avayavam, but it is indicative of Manas. So it is somewhat like, okay, as we use the word Hridya to explain certain other items as well. Say for example, Sangeetam. We say that it was very Hridyam, Hridya Sangeetam. So that means it was so soothing, so comfortable to the mind to listen. Similarly, the experience of Amla that way is Hridyam. Meantime, it is good for Hridaya as well. Hridaya Dharmam. Hridaya Dharmam is primarily controlled by Vayu. So we can assume that Amla Rasa is having some specific capacity to work on the Vayu which is connected to the Hridaya. That is also a possible understanding that can be drawn from this word Hridya. Then Pajanaha. Pachana. Pachanam, we have already seen that it is Deepanam. And then I told that, okay, there should be some Samana Gunada, then only it can work as Agni Deepanam. Now here it is Pajanam. Pajanam and Deepanam, they are confused with one another, always, almost always. Here, Pajanam is not Deepanam. It is not because of its Agni Samana Gunata. It need not necessarily be the because of the Agni Samanata. Because Pajanam is not a karma which is working directly on the Agni. Pajanam is not happening in Agni. Deepanam is happening in Agni. Agni Deepanam. We do not use Agni Pajanam. We do not use Agni Pajanam. So Agni Deepanam means Agnehe Deepanam. We do not use Agni Pajanam. Agnehe pajanam. It is not Agnehe pajanam. So pajanam is something which is happening in a different place, on a different substratum. It's not on Agni. Instead, we use not Agni pajanam, but we use Ama pajanam, Dosha pajanam. So make something pakwa. Make something pakwa is pajanam. So that something is never Agni. Something is never Agni. It is not making Agni pakwa, but making something else pakwa. Sometimes it can be Jwaram. Okay, Jwaram has become pakwa. Shobham, okay, now it is pakwa. Amam, okay, now it is pakwa. Dosham, okay, now it is pakwa. It is never Agni. Agni has become pakwa. We do not use it like that. So that should be kept in our mind. Pajanam is something which is happening on a principle which is other than Agni. Whereas Deepanam is happening on a principle which is Agni. So Amlam is Pajanam. Amlam has got the capacity to make an apakwa bhava to pakwa bhava. It can make an apakwa bhava pakwa. That is Pajanam. And it is Rojanam. Rojanam. Something which adds to the Ruji. Ruji. Something which makes Annadravyam Ruji. Rujiyuktam or Rujikaram. Makes Rujikaram. That is Rojanam. Amla has got that capacity. We while explaining the Lavana, we told, okay, this is also Rojanam. Then Ushnaviryaha. Amlam is Ushnavirya. Its Viryam is Ushnam. नानात्मकमभिद्रव्यम् अग्निशोमौ महाबलौ व्यक्ताव्यक्तं जगदिव नादिक्रामदिजादुचित्. That is what we saw while explaining the Viryam, isn't it? So everything is divided into two categories, either Agneyam or Saumyam. Nanatmakam abhidravyam Agnishomau Mahabalau Vyaktavyaktam Jagadiva Nadikramadi Jaduchid. So here it is Ushnaviryam. This comes under the category of Ushnavirya Rasas. Ushnavirya Rasas. So Amla Rasam is Ushnaviryam, but Himasparshaha. You cannot touch a rasa. How can you touch a rasa? It is impossible. Then what else you can touch? How, otherwise, how can we say that, okay, sparsham? It is an amla rasa dravya sparsham. Amla rasa yukta dravya sparsham. You cannot touch a rasa. You can touch only a dravya, because guna, dravya is the object of that particular action, isn't it? It is the dravya. So here amlarasa dravya is himasparsham, even though it is ushnam in viryam. That is actually a point which is supposed to be highlighted. That is why it is highlighted. Otherwise there is no meaning in specifying it. Generally, we think that Ushna Viryata is something which is Agneya, and they are all supposed to be Ushna by all means. Ushna by all means because of the Agneyata. But to make some sort of an exemption in that regard, it is highlighted that, see, Amla Rasadravya, even though Ushna in Virya, is Hima in Sparsha. It is Hima in Sparsha. Why it is so? Ushna Virya is a principle. The Virya is a principle which is going to act in the body, especially in its capacity to do Svedana. Ushnam as a guna specifically, when used and coming to the Agni Samparka, making or influencing the Rasadhadu, it increases the possibility of Svedana. Shidam on the other side is Stambhana. Shidam is Stambhana. So here interesting point is Amla Rasa Dravya when used internally will cause Svedanam. Amla Rasa Dravya when used internally can cause Svedanam. But if it is used externally, it will not cause Svedanam, but instead it will cause Stambhanam because it is Himasparsham. So this will be used in very clinical situations, therapeutic situations, isn't it? Where you need some sort of a controlled Ushnata, a controlled Ushnata. I think you may be familiar with the dravyas like Dhanyamlam. Dhanyamlam is very liberally used in the therapeutic procedures, no? The Dhanyamlam heated and done as dhara. So when heated, it is becoming Ushna to touch, but still basically it is an Amla Dravya. To the core, it is Shida Sparsha. Everybody will be knowing it. The moment I think you stop heating it, immediately it is becoming Shida in Sparsha. So in special clinical situations, like you need to give a temporary Ushnada, but does not intend to cause destabilization, some sort of asthirata of certain dhadus like medas, or you do not intend to focus on a dosha like pitta which may be attached to vata. You will have to use these sort of amla rasa dravyas for doing the procedure. There are many situations where this vada pitta or pittanubandha vada is there. You have to give some svedana for the vayu, but you do not intend to disturb the pitta. Or while doing some lepanas, in all these situations, I think this Ushnavidyo Himasparsha capacity, especially the Himasparsha capacity of this Amla Dravas or Amla Dravyas are used. So that is very interesting. Then Prenanaha. Amla means Prenanam. Prenanam, the word means some sort of a, it has got a physical sense as well as a mental sense. Prenanam in the physical sense means it is nourishing. Obviously, it is nourishing because it has a Prithvi component in it. The mental aspect of that Prenanam reflects. It is sort of a satisfying or see some sort of a gratifying or that sort of pleasing. These are the meanings generally in for prenam in its mental sense. So amlam is, we all know that. Okay, I think there are many areas where amla dravyas are used for making panakas, especially in the Grishma too. I think very light panakas are prepared, like using amram and many other fruits, which are basically amlam, and making very care, taking proper care to make that, to ensure that it is not becoming atyamlam, where this prenanam will go beyond the optimal range and it can cause some other vyapat. So that prenana capacity is made use in many practical situations. Kledanam. Amlam is kledanam. Kledanam, actually, kledam is the sneha bhava. Asthira sneha bhava. Asthira sneha bhava is generally is a non-specific or a broad spectrum word used, kledanam, to show the asthira sneha bhava. Obviously, I think a dravya which is snigdha and ushna tends to make the sneha asthira and shifting it to the category of kleda. So generally, amla has got that capacity. So it will be useful, say in conditions like where the kleda is to be avoided strictly, like Vranachikilsa sometimes, or in conditions like where Kleda is supposed to worsen the clinical condition, like maybe Kamala sometimes, or Visarpa sometimes, Kushta sometimes, Rakta Pitta. In all these situations, I think because of the Kledana capacity or the potential of Amla Rasa, it is restricted. In the Pathya Nirnaya, we can find that this amla rasa is restricted, and this kledanam is taking place in multiple levels. That is also very important. This fundamental change that is happening in this situation of kledanam will invariably reflect in the stability of rakta. That is an important point. A kledana dravya will invariably cause some sort of an imbalance in the recta. So in any vyadhi, any vikara where the involvement of recta is uh, is there, I think you should not go for amla dravyas as ahara or aushadha. That is also very important. There are interesting observations that way. I think I cannot go for all the details. Amla dravya, which we will find later in this chapter. Even though there are amla dravyas which are generally considered as ushna or this pitta prakopi or kledana, there are certain amla dravyas which are excluded from that list. So in certain clinical situations where we are selecting the amla dravyas, amla is indicated and we are going to select certain amla dravyas, all those aspects are to be considered. Say we will find later prayomlam pitta jananam dadimamalagadrude. So you will find the extensive or liberal use of amlam, that dadimam and amalakam in the pathya nischaya of many vyadhis. Similarly, while preparing the yavagus or that sort of annadravyas, annakalpanas in situations like jwara, we can find the amla dravyas are used. Amlam is rojagam, so it has got a specific role in the annadravya rujikarana. Unlike Lavanam is very important in the Annadravya Rojanam, but you cannot use Lavana beyond certain amount, isn't it? Then it will become impossible to consume. But I think then Amla comes. Amla is Rojaka and it can be used a bit liberally than or when compared with the Lavana. So in all such situations, we can find the very interesting selection of amla dravyas done in the Adhravritta by the acharyas. Okay, so prinanaha, kledanaha, laghu. Amlam is laghu. That is very important. The major components in amla dravya is agni and prithvi. Agni and Prithvi. So Agni and Prithvi is there. These are always a conflicting character. There are some acharyas who think that Amla has Jala as a predominant Bhuda in it, like Lavana. Amla and Jala, sorry, Agni and Jala. Lavana is also having Agni and Jala. And there are some consensus about the dominance of this Agni and Jala in Amla and Lavana. in Amla, the Jala part dominates, and in the Lavana, the Agni part dominates. That is how it is generally accepted. But in Ashtanga Hridaya, we find that okay, it is Prithvi and Agni. So Prithvi and Agni dominance. That's all. It is not. It does not mean that there are only two Buddhas in the in one rasa. They are dominating. So the remaining three are also there. So if we take okay, it is Prithvi and Agni. There is Jala, there is Vayu, there is Akasha, and we find that Amla is Lekhu. So as far as the Guru Lakhavada of Amla Rasa is concerned, actually the Vayu, Akasha, Agni, that combo, that dominates over the Prithvi and Jala, that wins over the Jala Prithvi components and establishes its Lekhutva over the Gurutva of Prithvi and Jala. So that is also a speciality of Amla Rasa. In spite of its Prithvi part, dominating Prithvi part, Amla is Lakhu. Then what else? There are a couple of things more. Karodi Kabhapitta Karodi Kabhapitta Asram. Kabham Karodi. Pittam Karodi. Asram Abhi Karodi. Asram Rektam. As we found the specific mentioning of Medas in Madhura Rasa, here that was in Atyuba Yoga. Here it is not in Atyuba Yoga. In any type of Uba Yoga, we can understand that okay, it is Kabha Pittasram Karodi. It increases Kabha even in normal use. It is not in Atyuba Yoga, even in normal use. It increases Kabha, it increases Pitta, and it increases Rakta as well. That is an interesting point. See, Kabha and Pitta are the basic components of Rakta. Kabha and Pitta are the basic components of Rakta. Everyone knows it. So anything which will increase the Kabha Pitta, anything which will increase the Kapha Pitta will obviously influence the Rakta as well. Tada Pitta Shleshmalaihi Prayo Dushyade. That is what is observed as far as the Rakta Dushti is concerned. Tada Pitta Shleshmalaihi Prayo Dushyade. So, the balance, a perfect blend of Kabha and Pitta, Soma and Agni in Rakta is easily disturbed by Amla, which is Kabhapittakara. So practically it causes Dushti of Rakta as well. So Karodi Kabhapitta Asram. Then Mudhavada Anulomanaha. Mudhavada Anulomanaha. That is also a specific nature of Amla Rasa, which is very widely used in Chikitsa, which is widely used in Chikitsa. Mudhavada Anulomanaha. Vadanulomanaha. Vadanulomanam. Mudhavadanulomanam. Actually, that Vadanulomanam is sufficient. Vadanulomanam is sufficient. But it is specifically told as Mudhavadanulomanam. Pratiloma Vayu. Something which is moving against its normal course. Something which is moving against its normal course. That is called Pratilomam. So when Vayu is Pratiloma, it is actually literally it is Vikrita. That is not its normal course. So that is to be brought to Anuloma. That means to its normal course. To its normal course. That is generally known as Anulomanam. Vada Anulomanam, specifically shows that okay, this is meant for uh, Vayu. Even that is not needed. Anything which is bringing back to its normal course of movement, that action is known as anulomana. It is not to be specified, because basically Vayu is the only dosha in the Sharira which is having that potential to move. So even I think uh, Anulomana is sufficient. Okay, Vada Anulomana is fine. Mudha Vada Anulomana. Mudha Shabdam is generally used in the literature, not Ayurvedic literature, but in general literature, with the meaning of, say, stupid or ignorant or foolish. It is in that word, that sense. Generally, we use the word mudha. Mudha vatanulomanaha. So how can Vayu be foolish, or why how Vayu can become ignorant or stupid or foolish Vayu? We have not heard such a term. So Mudha vatanulomanaha means Vayu which has practically become stupid or ignorant of its capacities, ignorant of its capacities. So some way or the other, the Vayu is trapped by some other element, and Vayu has become ignorant of its potential. So practically it is stuck somewhere in the srotas, trapped by or covered by or masked by some other element, and Vayu has become ignorant of its capacity. So practically or in effect, it is in a stupid state. Amla can release that mudhavada, that stupid Vayu, ignorant Vayu, or foolish Vayu, and bring it back to its normal course of movement. Therapeutically, this is an important aspect. Therapeutically, this gives the Vaidya great opportunities to work on certain things. Interestingly, see, I had an opportunity to get introduced to one Aushadha Yoga while I was attending one workshop conducted by Vaidya Nilesh ji and his team few months back in Pune. And I was introduced to a Aushadha Yoga called Chinja Lavana Tailam. Chinja Lavana Tailam. This Chinja Lavana Tailam is basically a dravya, a taila preparation, which is having uh, amlata as its basic substrate. The basic platform of that taila is amlarasa, amlarasa dravya, chinja. So that chinja lavana tailam is an excellent example for this mudhavada anulomana capacity of amlata. There are many other examples. I'm just recollecting my recent experience of getting introduced to one particular Aushadha Yoga. That's all. So that Chinja Lavana Tailam works very well with Vayu, which is Mudha, which has met with its Maudhya Avastha in Koshtam. So that Mudha Vayu in the Koshta is redirected, released, and brought to the stage of Anulomana by that Chinja Lavana Taila. So that is because of its Amla predominant nature. So Karodi Kabhapitta it can increase Kabhapitta also. That is also another risk factor. In Chinja Lavana Tailam also, I'm almost sure that if you use it in an inappropriate manner, inappropriate dose, or an inappropriate person, it will cause this karodi kabha pittasram. It can increase the kabha, pitta and vata, sorry, rekta, causing some extra unwanted adverse symptoms, even though it may bring mudhavada anulomanta. So I'm just giving you an example, that's all. So coming, just reading it once again. Amlogni deeptikrit snigdho hridya pajanarojanaha उष्णवीर्यो हिमस्पर्शः प्रीणन क्लेदनो लघु करोति कफपित्तास्रं मूढवादानुलोमनः. So in the chat box there is Vaidya Ashwin mentioning the dhi as an example of ushnaviryo himasparshaha. Yes, many things. People commit some mistakes as well because of the himasparsha. In the extreme grishma too, people tend to use the dhi in excess because of the shira sparsham. It will give an immediate sense of relief from the scorching heat, but actually when consumed internally, in due course of time, it will be adding to the ushna viryada of the sharira, ushnada of the sharira, ushnada of the grishma too, causing its reflections. So that is an example. Then Vaidya Jitendra, can you please explain the samprapti of Kledana by Amla Rasa? I mean, how Astira Sneha Bhava occurs. I think by the explanation of the Kabhapitta Vardhagatva and the reflecting Kabhapitta Vruddhi in the Rekta, causing it, making it Asthira. Because Sneha is a Shleshma Bhava, or otherwise Shleshma is a Sneha Bhava. Shleshma has got Prithvi and Jala. Prithvi and Jala can work in any way, but in Pragrata Kapha, it has got a striking feature called Sthira. Snigdha Shido Gurur Manda Slakshno Mritsna Sthira Kapha. So in Pragrata Kapha, Prithvi dominates over Jala to make sure that it is Sthira. You see, even though Prithvi and Jala are the ingredients, we don't find Drava Subhava in Shleshma. Snigdha Shido Gurur Manda Shlakshno Mritsna Sthira Kabha. There is no guna called Drava in Shleshma. If contrarily the Jala dominates, it is becoming Vikrita, and that can make the Asthirata. So any influence which can make a Sthira Swabhava of Sneha by adding Ushna Virya to it, it will become Asthira, it will become Drava, then that part contributes for the Kleda aspect. Asthira Shleshma. And Amla is having huge potential. By nature, it is having that capacity to cause this sort of a Kledana. I hope it is clear. So with that, I think we can conclude that those were the two questions what I found in chat box. So I think we can wind up. If I think Vaidya Neeresh may be able to add something with because he only introduced me to this Chinchalavana Kailam, so he may be able to add something to it. Anyway, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Prasad sir. In your recent visits in Pune, I think you were given this Chinchalavan tale by Vaidya Bhupeshwarkar sir, and actually this Chinchalavan tale is a classical or specific preparation made by Vaidya Datar Shastri, who was a renowned practitioner in Maharashtra, and he practiced Panchavautik Chikitsa. And with this Panchavautik Chikitsa, he designed this Chinchalavan tale on his own, and he named it as Anuloman tale, and he was using it internally and for basti purpose also. So as you told that it is Mood Vatanulomanam, excellent example of Mood Vatanulomanam. So all the Vaidyas in Maharashtra are widely using this Chinchalavan tale in their practices. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Nilesh, for that explanation. Thank you very much.
Yes,
So,
yes.
shall we conclude?
Yes, sir, we can conclude today. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Shubharatri, Shubharatri to all of you.
Shubharatri to all.
Will we meet once again before New Year? I think yes. So we will we will wish New Year in our next session. Okay. Happy Christmas to all of you.
Yes, sir. Same to you, sir.
Okay. Okay. Bye.